Okay, so let's unpack this. We've been given a really fascinating stack of source material today,
Yes, great stuff.
all centered around the surprising power of small habits.
Hmm.
Think of this deep dive as maybe your shortcut to understanding how these tiny changes, things that seem almost insignificant, really,
Right.
how they can compound into absolutely remarkable results over time.
Yeah, it's all about that compounding.
So our mission here is to kind of pull out the most important nuggets, the key ideas from this material, help you grasp what's behind building better habits, maybe breaking some bad ones too,
Exactly. We'll look at the core concepts, the practical strategies.
and figure out what it all means for you and your own goals.
And what's really striking, I think, is how something that seems so minor, so small, can unlock such huge long-term transformation.
Yeah.
The foundation here is this idea of atomic habits.
Atomic habits.
Yeah, and they're not just like single actions in isolation. Think of them as fundamental building blocks, small parts that feed into a much larger system of behavior.
Okay, and we see this played out so clearly with that British cycling story.
Right, yeah, that's the perfect example.
Back in 2003, they had this history of, well, let's be honest, pretty serious underperformance.
Oh, absolutely. Like one Olympic gold in 100 years, no Tour de France wins in over a century.
It was so bad the material actually says one top bike maker refused to even sell them bikes, worried it would hurt their brand.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And then their new performance director, Dave Brailsford, he came in with this philosophy, the aggregation of marginal gains.
Aggregation of marginal gains.
Simple idea, but kind of radical back then.
Mhm.
Just look for tiny, tiny improvements, like 1%,
Just 1%.
in everything, absolutely everything they could think of.
And they really meant everything, didn't they? It wasn't just about training harder.
No, not at all. They looked at the bike seats, optimized those. They scrubbed the tires with alcohol for better grip. Oh, yeah. Tested different massage gels. They even flew in their own mattresses and pillows, to make sure the riders slept perfectly.
Pillows.
Brailsford had scientists analyzing dust inside the team truck to see if it affected the bike mechanics. And they figured out the absolute best way to wash hands to cut down on illness.
These sound like such tiny details, almost trivial.
They do, right? Mundane, almost. But the material makes the point clear. When you pile up hundreds of these little 1% gains,
The results are definitely not mundane.
not at all. Within just 5 years, that team completely turned things around, dominated the 2008 Olympics, took home, 60% of the cycling gold medals?
Incredible. And it didn't stop there, did it?
Nope. 2012 London Olympics, 9 Olympic records, 7 world records, and then the Tour de France.
5 wins in 6 years. Wiggins, Froome.
Yeah. Between 2007 and 2017, this team nobody wanted to sell bikes to. They racked up 178 world championships, 66 Olympic or Paralympic golds. It's seen as like one of the most successful runs in cycling history.
All from focusing on those tiny improvements.
All from that relentless focus, yeah.
So that story perfectly illustrates why these small changes pack such a punch over time. It's the compounding effect.
Exactly. It's the compounding. And the math, when you look at it, is pretty stark.
Yeah, tell us about that.
If you manage to get just 1% better every single day for a whole year, you don't just end up, 3.65 times better.
Yeah.
Because of compounding.
It multiplies.
They multiply. You end up almost 38 times better. That's 1.01 to the power of 365.
38 times. That's huge.
It's huge. But the flip side is just as powerful. Get 1% worse each day,
Uh-oh.
and you decline pretty much down to 0. 0.99 to the power of 365 is like 0.03.
Wow. Okay, so that difference over time is just, it's not linear at all.
Not even close.
It reminds me of that ice melting analogy they used. Water at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not that different from 31 or 30 visually
Right. Nothing seems to be happening.
until it hits 33 degrees. And that one extra degree, which seems tiny compared to all the change before it.
Boom. Huge, visible shift.
Yeah.
Ice becomes water.
And all those earlier temperature changes weren't wasted, were they? The potential was building up.
Exactly. It was building just under the surface until that breakthrough.
Which brings us to that really critical idea, the plateau of latent potential.
Yes. This is so important. Because when you start a new habit, progress often feels incredibly slow. Painfully slow sometimes.
You're putting the work in, making these little changes, but you don't see the big results right away.
Right. And that's what they call the valley of disappointment. It feels like it's not working.
And I guess that's why a lot of people give up.
Precisely. They stop right there. in the
Yeah.
valley. They don't realize this slow buildup is totally normal for anything that compounds. You have to persist through that plateau.
Keep going until you break through.
Your habits need time to break through and show those big results. The effort isn't lost, it's just stored potential, accumulating.
Okay, so the big takeaway there is maybe the outcome isn't the most important thing, especially at the start. It's sticking with the process.
It's the process, sticking with it long enough for that compounding magic to happen.
And that leads nicely into another core idea in the material, the difference between goals and systems.
Yes, and this is a really powerful way to reframe things. Goals. Goals are useful, right? They set your direction. They tell you what you want to achieve.
Like, I want to run a marathon.
Exactly. But systems. Systems are about how you're going to get there. They're about making progress step by step.
Okay.
Think about Scott Adams, the Dilbert guy. His goal might have been become a successful cartoonist, but his system was draw cartoons every single day.
Ah, I see. It reminds me of that Bill Walsh quote, the football coach, the score takes care of itself.
That's it, exactly. You don't win by staring at the scoreboard. You win by focusing on executing the plays, getting better every day in practice. Focus on the system.
And the score, the outcome, kind of follows.
It follows naturally, yeah.
Yeah.
And focusing only on goals actually has some big problems.
Like what?
Well, for one, winners and losers often have the exact same goals. Think about it.
Right. Every athlete at the Olympics wants the gold medal. Every tech startup wants to be huge.
Exactly. So the goal itself doesn't differentiate them. The material calls this out as survivorship bias. We only focus on the winners who had the same goal. What really set British cycling apart wasn't the goal of winning the Tour de France.
It was their system, that rigorous system of tiny improvements.
It was a system. Anyone can state the goal. It's the consistent method that makes the difference.
Okay, what else is wrong with just focusing on goals?
Well, achieving a goal is often just a momentary change.
Yeah.
Right? Your goal is to clean your messy room. Okay, you do it, goal achieved.
But then
Then what keeps it clean? It's not the goal. It's having a cleaning system, a routine.
oh, I definitely feel that one. You hit the target, but if the underlying system isn't there, you just drift back.
You drift right back. And also, fixating only on goals can kind of mess with your happiness.
How so?
You might feel unhappy or stressed until you reach the goal, constantly striving, and then maybe you get a brief moment of satisfaction when you hit it.
And then you're immediately looking for the next goal.
Right, it becomes this endless chase for future happiness, never really content now.
Okay.
And one last thing. Focusing too hard on one specific outcome, one goal, can actually work against long-term progress. The real point of a good system isn't just to win one game or reach one milestone.
It's to keep playing the game, keep improving indefinitely.
Exactly. It's about continuous improvement and refinement, not just a single victory.
So the really big takeaway here is, well, it's pretty stark. Forget about goals. Focus on your system.
That's the core message. The material puts it bluntly. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
Wow, that really flips the script. It's about the daily process, not the end result.
It really is. Which leads us to a really important question.
Yeah.
Why is it often so easy to slip into bad habits and so darn hard to make good ones stick?
Yeah, why is that?
The analysis points strongly towards our sense of identity.
Our identity. You mean not just what we do, but who we fundamentally believe we are.
Precisely. The material talks about 3 layers of change. You can change your outcomes. That's what you get. You can change your processes. That's what you do. Or, the deepest level, you can change your identity. That's what you believe about yourself.
Okay.
And the most effective, most sustainable way to change isn't just aiming for a different outcome or even just adopting a new process. It's about focusing on who you wish to become.
So it shifts from, I want to read this book, to, I want to be a reader. Or not, I want to run a marathon, but I want to be a runner.
Yes, exactly. That's the core shift. Because your behaviors, the things you do repeatedly, are incredibly powerful. They shape and reflect your identity.
How so?
Every single action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to become.
A vote. Interesting.
Yeah. So when you consistently do a small habit, maybe meditating for 1 minute or writing one sentence, you're providing evidence to yourself. Proof that you are that kind of person. Yeah. A meditator, a writer.
But what if your current self-image kind of fights against that? Like you try to meditate, but inside you're thinking, this isn't me. I'm not a calm person.
That identified as a huge barrier.
Yeah.
Identity conflict. There's this really strong internal pressure and sometimes external cultural pressure too, to stick with your existing self-image.
We don't like things that contradict who we think we are.
Exactly.
Mm.
It creates this mental discomfort, cognitive dissonance. We tend to snap back to behaviors that align with our current identity.
So these small habits, they're not just checking boxes. They're literally helping you rewrite your internal story about who you are.
That's the argument, yes. Habits are the practical pathway to changing your identity. By doing the things that the person you want to be would do consistently, even in small ways, you literally become your habits. You embody that identity.
Okay, so if cultivating the right identities is the who and building strong systems is the how we make progress,
Yeah.
what's the actual framework? How do we do the how? This must be where the 4 laws come in.
Exactly. This framework breaks down the structure of any habit, good or bad, into a 4-stage loop that always runs in the same order. Cue, craving, response, and reward.
Cue, craving, response, reward. Okay.
This cycle runs every single time a habit gets triggered.
It sounds a bit like those old experiments, like Thorndike's cats in puzzle boxes.
Very much so. The cat sees the box, that's the cue, learns that pressing a lever, the response, leads to escape, and food, the reward. The behavior gets linked to the satisfying outcome. That's the law of effect.
So habits are basically mental shortcuts the brain learns to solve recurring problems without thinking too hard.
Precisely. It's about efficiency. Your brain wants to automate responses to common cues to free up conscious attention for new or more complex things. It's always trying to hand tasks off to the non-conscious mind.
Okay, so the 4 laws give us levers to pull on this loop, to build good habits and maybe dismantle bad ones. Let's start with the first one, make it obvious. That targets the cue, right?
Correct. The cue is the trigger. It's some piece of information in your environment that predicts a reward is available. Your brain is constantly scanning for these cues.
So how do we make the cues for the habits we want really obvious, hard to miss?
One really powerful strategy is using what are called implementation intentions.
Implementation intentions.
It just means getting super specific about when and where you'll do the habit. The format is simple. When situation X arises, I will perform response Y.
Like when my alarm goes off at 7 a.m., I will put on my running shoes.
Exactly. Or when I finish lunch, I will walk around the block. The material cites a study showing this simple sentence boosted exercise rates to like 91%. Just making it concrete ties it to a specific time and place, which act as strong cues.
Planning it out makes it real. Okay, what else makes cues obvious?
There's a fascinating technique called pointing and calling, used by like Japanese rail workers. Yeah. And the MTA subway in New York uses it too. Workers physically point at important signals or indicators and say aloud what they see, like point at a signal, say, signal is green.
That sounds a bit odd. Does it work?
Amazingly well. It forces conscious attention under the cue. Japanese railways saw errors drop by 85%. The MTA saw fewer mistakes too. It makes the cue unmissable.
Huh. That's surprising. What about habit stacking? That sounds useful.
Habit stacking is great. You link a new habit you want to form directly to a habit you already do consistently. The formula is, after my current habit, I will will my new habit.
Okay, so after I brush my teeth at night, I will floss one tooth. Or after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute.
Perfect. You're anchoring the new habit to an established routine, using the momentum of the old habit to trigger the new one. You can even chain them together. It's like a positive version of the Diderot effect. One purchase leads to another. Here, one habit leads to the next.
Got it. And designing your environment seems key, too.
Oh, it's huge. You want to make the cues for your good habits obvious, visible, right there in front of you. Visual cues are incredibly powerful. Like half your brain power goes to vision.
So be the architect of your space.
Be the architect, not just the consumer. Put your running shoes by the door. Leave the book you want to read on your pillow. Put healthy food at eye level in the fridge. Hide the junk food.
You're putting the trigger right in your path.
Exactly. And related to that is the idea that the entire context becomes the cue. Habits get tied to the whole environment, not just one trigger.
Like how being in a certain place or with certain people might trigger wanting a drink.
Precisely. Social drinking, smoking, the bar, the friends, the whole setting cues the behavior. That's why the material suggests trying a one-space, one-use approach if you can. Work desk is only for work, not relaxing. Bedroom is for sleep.
Keep the context separate.
It helps create stronger associations. A stable environment supports stable habits. And trying to start a new habit in a completely new environment can sometimes be easier because you're not fighting old, embedded cues.
Okay, makes sense. Make it obvious. Make the trigger impossible to miss. Now, law two, make it attractive. This is about the craving.
Right, the craving, this is the motivational force behind the habit. But here's the key insight from the material. You don't actually crave the habit itself. You crave the change in state the habit delivers.
The feeling it gives you.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You don't crave smoking, you crave the feeling of relief. You don't crave scrolling Instagram, you crave the hit of entertainment or distraction. Every craving is tied to a desire to change how you feel right now.
And dopamine plays a big role here, doesn't it?
A huge role. Yeah. But maybe not in the way people think. Dopamine is less about the pleasure of the reward and more about the anticipation, the wanting, the craving for it.
It's the seeking, not the having.
Largely, yes. Studies showed rats without dopamine wouldn't seek out food, even though they still seemed to like sugar if it was put right in their mouths. And flooding brains with dopamine made animals repeat actions hundreds of times just based on the anticipation of a reward. It's that prediction of satisfaction that drives us to act.
Okay, so we need to make the anticipation of our good habits more appealing, more attractive. How?
One really clever strategy is called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling. Sounds fun.
It is. You pair something you want to do, an action you're already drawn to, with an action you need to do, the habit you're trying to build. It's based on something called the Premack principle. A more likely behavior can reinforce a less likely one.
So, I only get to listen to my favorite podcast while I'm doing chores, or I only watch my guilty pleasure TV show while I'm on the exercise bike.
Exactly. You bundle the temptation, the podcast, the show, with the habit you need to build, chores, exercise. The material mentions how ABC television did this with their TGIT Thursday night lineup, linking watching their shows, the need for ABC, with the want of relaxing with wine and popcorn. The anticipated pleasure makes the need more attractive.
That's smart. Leveraging existing desires. What else?
Another incredibly powerful approach. Join a culture where your desired behavior is just the normal thing to do.
Surround yourself with people who already do it.
Precisely. Humans have this deep, fundamental need to belong. We naturally imitate the habits of the groups we're part of. The culture sets the norms, the invisible rules.
So change is more attractive if it helps you fit in with your tribe.
Massively so. The material points out we imitate three key groups: the close family, friends. Think about studies showing obesity spreading in social networks, or how partners influence each other's habits. Proximity really matters.
Okay, the close.
Then the many, the tribe, the majority. This is where those conformity experiments, like Solomon Ash's, come in. People would literally deny what they saw with their own eyes, just to go along with the group's wrong answer.
That experiment is always so striking.
Isn't it? It shows how much we look to the group for cues on how to act, especially when we're unsure. We'd often rather be wrong with the crowd than right alone.
So the close, the many, and the third.
The powerful. People with status, prestige, we often imitate them because we seek their approval, their success.
So make the habit attractive by making it the norm in your social circle, or by associating it with people you admire.
Exactly. And one more strategy. Create a motivation ritual. Associate the start of your habit with something you enjoy, or something that puts you in the right state of mind before you begin.
Like playing a specific pump-up song before a workout.
Perfect example. Or that writer, Ed Lattimore, who conditioned himself so just putting on headphones cued deep focus. Athletes use pregame rituals for this all the time to feel competitive, focused. You're linking the habit to an attractive feeling you want to experience.
Okay, make it obvious, make it attractive. Now the third law, make it easy. This is about the response, actually doing the habit.
Yes, and the core idea here is simple. Reduce friction. Make good habits as effortless as possible. Make bad habits difficult.
Because we're fundamentally lazy.
Well, maybe efficient is a better word. Human nature follows the law of least effort. We instinctively gravitate towards the option that requires the least work. Our brains are wired to conserve energy.
That agriculture example was wild, how farming spread easily east-west along similar climates, but struggled north-south across different ones. Friction matters, even over centuries.
It shows how deep this principle runs. So practically, you want to decrease the number of steps between you and the good habit. Make it easier.
Like choosing a gym that's on your commute.
Exactly. Or if you want to eat healthier, chop your veggies on Sunday so they're ready to go during the week. Reduce the effort needed in the moment. For bad habits, you do the opposite. Increase friction, want to watch less TV, unplug it after use, hide the remote.
Make the path of least resistance lead to the good habit.
Precisely. And related to this is priming the environment. setting things up in advance to make the future action easier.
Like laying out your workout clothes the night before.
Classic example.
Yeah.
Or packing your healthy lunch the night before. The hotel guest, Oswald Knuckles, who reset his room remote back, pillows neat, making it easier to maintain order later. If you want to focus, leave your phone in another room before you start working. That little bit of friction to go get it can make a difference.
You're making the right choice, the easy choice for your future self.
Exactly. You also want to master the decisive moment. These are those small, hinge point choices that often dictate how the next chunk of time unfolds.
Like the moment you decide whether to order takeout or start cooking, or walk versus drive.
Yes. Those initial small choices can strain your later options. Optimizing those key moments can have a huge ripple effect. Making the start of the good habit easy is crucial.
And automation, using tech.
Absolutely. Use technology or systems to make habits happen without effort. Automatic bill pay, auto-refill prescriptions, website blockers during work hours.
Takes willpower out of the equation.
Frees up your mental energy. But, as the material warns, be careful. Automation can make bad habits easier too.
Like Netflix autoplay, making it effortless to binge watch for hours.
Exactly. Or social media infinite scroll. Automation cuts both ways. You want to use it intentionally for the habits you want to build.
Okay. Obvious, attractive, easy. Which brings us to the final law. Make it satisfying. This targets the reward.
Yes, the reward. This closes the loop. It satisfies the craving and, crucially, tells your brain, hey, this was good, let's do it again. We are hardwired to repeat behaviors that feel satisfying.
And this is where that tension between instant gratification and delayed gratification comes in, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
Our brains evolved for an immediate return world. Find food, eat food, feel good now. But modern life is full of delayed returns, work hard now for a paycheck later, exercise now for health benefits months from now, save now for retirement decades away.
And our ancient wiring prefers the now.
Instant gratification often wins, which leads to the cardinal rule of behavior change. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided.
So even if the main benefit of a good habit is far off, we need to find a way to make it feel good right now.
Yes, you need some kind of immediate success signal, even a small one.
How do we do that? Add reinforcement.
Exactly. Use reinforcement. Add some immediate pleasure or satisfaction to the habit. That Pakistani hand washing study is a brilliant example.
With the nice soap.
Yeah. Stephen Luby gave people Safeguard soap, nice smell, good lather. It made hand washing, a habit with long-term health benefits, immediately feel pleasant. And guess what? People kept washing their hands more often even after the free soap ran out. The immediate sensory reward made the habit stick.
Wow. So it wasn't just about knowing it was healthy, it had to feel good.
The feeling mattered. It's why chewing gum has flavor, why toothpaste makes your mouth feel minty clean. That immediate satisfaction reinforces the action.
So for good habits, find an immediate reward. And for bad habits,
You invert it. Make it immediately unsatisfying. Add an immediate cost or punishment.
like that extreme example of the nuclear codes being tied to something horrific.
Right, making the consequence immediate and visceral. On a more practical level, you can use external consequences.
Like a habit contract.
Exactly. A formal agreement. You state your commitment, you state the punishment for failing, and you get accountability partners to sign it.
Like that Brian Harris guy who had to pay his trainer or wear his rival team's hat if he missed workouts.
Yes. Knowing someone is watching, knowing there's an immediate unpleasant cost if you slip up. That's a powerful motivator. It makes the failure immediately painful.
Uses social pressure as an immediate consequence.
Okay. And finally, maybe the simplest way to make a habit satisfying. Habit tracking.
Just checking it off a list.
Yeah. Marking an X on a calendar, using a habit tracker app, seeing that streak build, seeing visual proof of your progress. That
Okay.
feels immediately satisfying. It reinforces the habit in your identity as someone who does that habit.
And breaking the chain feels bad.
Breaking the chain is an immediate punishment. You don't want to lose that streak. It leverages our desire for completion and visual progress.
Okay, that framework is super clear. Make it obvious, cue, attractive craving, easy response, satisfying reward. But material says building them isn't the end game. You have to refine them.
Right. You can't just set them and forget them. There's this trap of complacency that can set in once a habit becomes automatic. You stop paying attention, standards can slip, the habit might become less effective.
So you need a system for reflection and review.
Definitely. Look at Pat Riley and Lakers in '86 with their career best effort program.
Right. They were super talented, but underperforming.
So Riley tracked baseline stats for each player and challenged them to improve by just 1% their CBE. They even tracked unsung hero stuff like diving for loose balls.
And it worked.
Big time. It kept a talented team focused on constant small improvements, fighting off complacency. They won back-to-back championships. Reflection makes you aware of mistakes, helps you see where you can tweak things, keeps you improving.
Like Chris Rock testing jokes with a notepad or executive keeping decision journals?
Exactly. The material suggests building in your own reviews. Maybe a simple weekly review. What went well? What went wrong? What did I learn? Or a bigger annual integrity report. Did I live my values? Where can I set higher standards?
It prevents that slow drift downwards. Keeps you sharp.
Success isn't a finish line. It's a system for continuous improvement, an endless process to refine.
Okay, but where do things like natural talent or genetics fit into this picture? Are some people just wired better for certain habits or success?
Yeah, the material tackles this head on. The view is that genes definitely predispose you towards certain things, but they don't predetermine your destiny.
Predisposed, not predetermined.
Okay, think about Michael Phelps, the swimmer, long torso, short legs, perfect for swimming, versus Hicham El Guerrouj, the runner, long legs, shorter torso,
Yeah.
built completely differently, ideal for their sports.
Right. Phelps probably wouldn't have been a great Olympic runner.
Highly unlikely, despite being an amazing athlete. Genes influence personality traits too, like the Big Five. They even correlate with things like how much TV you watch or your likelihood of divorce. It's hard to find traits not influenced by genes to some degree.
So what's the takeaway for us? Play to your strengths.
That's a big part of it. The secret to maximizing your odds is often choosing the right habit or the right field to play in, one that aligns with your natural inclinations, your personality, your skills. As the saying goes, work hard on the things that come easy to you.
Find areas where you hit that flow state, where it feels engaging, not like a constant struggle.
Exactly, where you feel like the real you. Now, luck plays a role. Obviously, Phelps was lucky to have Gene Society values highly. But the advice is to try and create your own game where the odds are in your favor because it aligns with your unique combo of skills. Like Scott Adams aiming to be in the top 25% of a few things, not the top 1% of one impossible thing.
But genes aren't enough on their own, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Genes are potential. You still need the effort, the systems, the consistency. The point isn't to use genetics as an excuse or to dismiss other success as just luck until you put in comfortable work. It's about being strategic. Align your efforts with your nature to make success more likely, maybe more enjoyable.
So let's try and wrap this up. What does it all mean for us? We've explored this idea of atomic habits, these tiny changes with huge compound effects. We've seen why systems trump goals for long-term progress.
Falling to the level of your systems.
Right. And how habit change is really identity change, building evidence for who you want to become.
Yeah, casting those votes.
And then we got that practical framework. The 4 laws. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. Ways to actually engineer better habits.
Plus the importance of environment, social groups, reflection, even playing to your genetic strengths.
But ultimately, it's about seeing progress not as reaching a goal, but as this ongoing system of refinement.
Exactly. And that leads to a final kind of provocative thought from the source material, something to maybe chew on.
Okay.
As you think about your own habits, your own desires, consider this idea. Maybe true happiness isn't really about achieving pleasure. Maybe it's more about the absence of desire.
The absence of desire.
That feeling of contentment arrives when you don't have that nagging urge to feel differently than you do right now. Suffering, in this view, is that gap, the space between craving a change in your state and actually getting it.
So peace. Peace is when you notice something, a cue maybe, but you don't feel that immediate compulsion to change things. You're okay with the current situation.
That's the idea. Desire fuels the chase. Pleasure might come from the action. But peace happens when you don't automatically turn your observations into problems that need fixing through a new craving or habit.
No, so what happens if you shift your focus? Maybe using these habits not just to chase desires, but to actually cultivate more of that peace, contentment with the now.
Interesting question, isn't it? Something to mull over until next time.